talk about the STLP regionals because the site has been updated. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you what you need to be looking at. Okay, so on the STLP website, if you go to the regionals section up top here, if you click on that regionals tab, it will take you to this newly updated page. And so you can scroll down and you've got your important 2020 regionals info. We know all this, that things have changed for this year. But the two biggest sections for you are going to be the project section and the register section. Okay, so because if we scroll down, see where it says part 1 by 11/20, you see that the deadline to reserve level 1 project placeholders is November 20th. All right, so what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to click on this register, and the sooner you do it, the better, because I'm going to show you what it takes you to. It's just going to ask you your email address. It's going to ask you your school district. So you would do Jefferson County.
You can type in J.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can type in your school name. You can type in, it's got your first name, your coordinator name. So you, first name, last name. You're doing, you can do 1, 2, or 3 projects. If you have gold status, you can do 4 projects. Most of you are probably only going to do 1 project. And then you're going to say, you're going to list yourself, either yourself or somebody in your school as a judge. Now, most coordinators list themselves as a judge. Okay, so most of you are going to just say, I'm the judge. And that's it. Because after you do that, it's going to, if you hit next, it'll say submit. Okay, so you didn't have to type in a project title or an idea or anything like that. All you're doing is you are reserving a spot in regionals. Okay, so you can do that right now. You can do that right now. All right, so that's just typing in your name, your email address, and your county and your school, and how many projects you're gonna pitch. So that's something you can do right now. That's on. I'm gonna get out of here. Get back. That's under the register section on the regionals page of the STLP website. All right, but let's talk about projects, because this has been updated within the past week. And we now kind of have an idea of what these projects will look like in the 2020-2021 school year for STLP. So level 1 projects, you're going to give an elevator pitch on your project idea. So think of it like you're stuck in an elevator with somebody. You're going to tell them about your idea, and you've got 2 minutes to convince them. All right. So if I scroll down on this page, you've got some slides that you can thumb through. And remember, regionals is level 1. So that's what you're paying attention to, is level 1. 2 and 3 come later at later dates. But we got to get past level 1 first. All right, so on this screen, if I just kind of go to these slides, you see the project cycle, sorry. And you've got, these are all linked for you can click through those if you want, but I'm just going to go slide by slide here. And remember, if you joined me last week or you saw last week's video, we talked about what an STLP project is versus what it isn't. So remember, if you just say, we're going to do Minecraft, that's not an STLP project, because there's no problem or question or issue to solve, right? And you can't really take, I guess you could take data on that, but you're not really solving a problem, right? There's no real world relevance outside of you're just doing Minecraft. But if you say, because our students cannot gather in large groups on playgrounds, on physical playgrounds, we are going to build a virtual playground in Minecraft and invite students to congregate there, and then take attendance and adjust to feedback, and basically design this to our students' needs and wants. That is an STLP project, because you're solving a real world issue. Kids can't gather in large groups in real spaces, right? But guess what? They can in Minecraft. So that would be a great STLP project. So let's go back here real quick, actually. So on this, it's important to look at these, 6 things about what makes an STLP project. But like I said, we kind of went over that last week. There is a link to the new Kentucky Academic Standards for Technology. I'm not going to click on that, but that is linked later in this slideshow, and just kind of important for you. Anything you teach technology, really. So if I go to the next slide, you see that level 1, you're going to give an elevator pitch, which is different than years past, because years past in a physical location, kids would be standing in front of a board, and they just would be pitching their project, but they'd have like that science fair-esque type atmosphere. This one, it's all going to be digital, and we'll talk about the ways to do that in just a minute. And there's a level 1 rubric there, which is linked later on in this, which we'll talk about. But let's talk about how you're going to give that pitch. So on this, in your pitch, you're going to be scored on a rubric. Okay, the kids are going to be scored on a rubric. First off, they've got to have a project title, right? Like Virtual Playground Minecraft, or Let's Go Virtual, a playground, a Minecraft playground. That would be a good title, right? They've got to have a guiding question. So using that Minecraft example again, the issue is kids can't gather in a real world space. So they are instead gathering in a virtual space, right? What will they do to solve, address the challenge issue? Well, we'll build a playground in Minecraft, right? How will you measure measure it to prove your project was impactful? Well, we took attendance, and we saw that, the first week we had 20 kids come. The next week we had 25 kids come. And then from there we had 50 kids come. So that's the kind of thing you're doing, is you're kind of taking data on these projects. And then 4, who will you work with to help learn about your project, work on it, or make it stronger? Maybe you did a Google Meet with a local like playground builder or something, or a local contractor, and you ask them, well, what goes into building a playground? Or maybe you did a Google Meet with somebody who builds slides, and they talk about what goes into making a really cool slide or something like that. So that's the kind of stuff where you just kind of bring in those outside influences. You've got that exposure of like, how do I make this project better by going outside of my school? Who can we talk to? Who's the expert we can bring in on this? And then number 5, what technology tools will you help to utilize you bring your project to life? Well, that's going to be Minecraft, and you could do research on playgrounds. You could do research on different things, engagement, whatever. 6, how will you tell the world about your project? Well, we sent that out every week. Our principal announced it on the morning news, through Facebook or through Twitter. We tweeted out the link, or through our teachers' Google Classrooms. We tweeted out the link, or we sent out the link, that kind of thing. Basically, how did you get the word out about your project? And then finally, guiding question 7. It's going to say, it says, do you pledge to strive to use tools in a safe, savvy, and social ways that respect the property of others? Then you might talk about what you did to ensure digital citizenship happened within that Minecraft. Well, if anybody was behaving inappropriately, we kicked them out. Or we had a rule where kids had to sign a pledge that they were going to behave in a certain way if they visited our virtual playground, that kind of stuff. And then finally, you've got the STLP logo somewhere on your presentation. That's an easy 5 points. So that's just kind of one example. I just used that Minecraft example that I talked about last week, the virtual playground, to kind of go through this entire list. And so these are the kind of questions you want to ask when you do come up with a project idea, how does your project answer each of these questions? How does the project answer each of these questions? And that's an easy way to kind of score yourself. So this is, again, if we look over here on the elevator pitch, it's done entirely online, no live presentations. So you're not going to have kids doing a Google Meet with judges, all right? Notice that it's going to it's going to be less than 2 minutes, 120-second rule. Judges should be able to review the pitch and understand your project plan in less than 2 minutes. Okay. So I'm trying to remember if it's, let me just go one step further. No. Okay. So how are you going to do this? Your big question is like, well, you could do this through Google Slides. You could come in a slides presentation. But honestly, to me, the easiest way to do that, to do an elevator pitch, is to you as a teacher open up a Google Meet, record that Google Meet, and have your kids practice giving that pitch. Okay. So your kids you record your kids in a Google Meet giving the pitch of their project. All right. In less than 2 minutes. And you can practice it over and over and over and over again. And the good thing is you can then share that link, because that downloads to your Google Drive. You can share and submit that link to the judges. All right. So the easiest way for me would be to record my kids in a Google Meet giving our elevator pitch. Okay. And that's what you would submit on December 11th. Any questions about that? All right. Anything else in here that I'm looking here?
Somebody put a question in chat asking if it can be a business partner project.
Yeah, let me get back to the chat here real quick. Okay, can it be? Yes, absolutely. You can project with you can partner with whoever you want. A business partner, a community member, like it's just whoever you want to partner with community. They always like to see outside people partner with these projects. Like, who are you talking to besides people in your school? All right, so let's go back to this. All right, so here you see that exactly what kind of I was saying before of how do you present this project? Well, some tools to consider. You could present on a Padlet. You can do a shared Google Doc or slide. You can do it on Jamboard. You can do it on, again, a recorded Google Meet would be a really easy, simple idea to submit. These are all ways you can present your project, a Google site, anything you want to do to present your elevator pitch. But keep in mind, it's got to be a pitch. So if you just submit a Google site with a bunch of random stuff on it, it may not make sense to the judges. All right. So probably your best bet would be to record, again, your kids on video giving the pitch, so the judges fully understand it. Because you're not going to have anything. You're not going to be able to have to show any kind of completed project detail, like this is what our playground looks like in Minecraft, or this is what our NTI videos look like. You're just telling them the idea on December 11th. Okay, when you're submitting that link. All right, again, it's a short video, slides, a doc, use whatever fits. Less than 2 minutes, and pay attention to that level 1 rubric. All right, that's level 2, so we've gone too far. Again, so the biggest thing for you is to, 1, register, and I'll show that again here in just a second, to reserve your spot by November 20th. And then part 2, by December 11th, you submit your project details, okay, which comes later after you do part 1. So let's go back again. Under the regional section on the STLP website, you can do this now, because all it asks is for your name and your school and your judge, which you can be the judge. And then after you submit that, then you start looking at the project section, and you can start going through this slideshow. And remember, your best bet is to start looking at this rubric and any kind of project idea that you come up with. See how it stacks up against these questions. What's the challenge? How are you going to measure your progress? That kind of stuff. So that's what I would do for your elevator pitch. All right. So let's go back here. I'm going to stop presenting. Any questions from what we showed today? And also any questions in general. You can ask any questions in general that do not apply to what I just presented. So
I have a big question, because I assume that we're robotics. Are they having a robotics competition? Yeah, shaking head. And then I had someone sending me information about Sphero Hero, but are they having a Sphero Hero competition?
No, not at this time. None of that's, obviously we can't gather and teams can't meet on that. There may be something where kids can record a video of themselves, making a Spiro do something, but that hasn't been announced yet. And I doubt it will, because honestly, it's an equity issue, because this kid's got a Spiro and this kid doesn't. He can't compete, that kind of thing. So I doubt any kind of thing with robotics is probably not going to happen this year.
Yeah, because I found a virtual robotics site, and my team is going to go. We're still going to have a team this year, and I'm going to teach them how to program robots using the virtual site.
Yep.
But I didn't know how that could translate into a competition, because I didn't know if it was possible to show anything that way. So that's why I was asking. All right, so we're going to do that, and then I'm going to have a STLP group, and then we're going to try to do the DPOJ materials working with the other teachers. So that's basically what we're doing this year, is trying to see if kids are doing things that can go DPOJ. And then, am I saying it right?
Yes. So DPOJ, yeah, is definitely a part of STLP. The regionals part is actually just coming up with a project, like we just looked at, where you solve a problem. You look at an issue and you're kind of solving that issue around, like I said, the example of kids can't gather in large groups on playgrounds. So how are we going to solve that? We can create a playground in Minecraft so kids can gather there in a virtual world. So you would look at, you might be able to look at and think about robotics in a way that solves an issue. Maybe you build a robot that does, I don't know, retrieve something. I don't know, but like it's just a thing where you try to solve an issue, find a challenge, and make a pitch, a 2-minute pitch on it.
Right. Okay. So I've got this set. I was just worried about the robotics and Spiro Hero. I didn't want to.
Yeah, robotics and Spiro Hero are separate from regionals.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Any other questions, guys? All right. So with that, like I said, these are recorded every week, and they're uploaded to the JCPS STL.me/STLP website. Let me actually share that with you right now and kind of show you where these are. So if I go JCPS.
Yeah, Russ, while you do that, I'll answer a question in the chat. Kimberly Riggs asked, will there still be a DPOJ? And yes, definitely DPOJ this year.
Yep. Up top here, and I need to change the color scheme, obviously, or change my background. It says Home, Lunch, and Learn, which is the section you want. That's where you're going to find these Lunch and Learns. The last week's is there. What is and what isn't an STLP project. Today's will be uploaded here. And then next week, we'll be talking about Divide and Conquer, the Ryan Shetler method, where Ryan Shetler, when he was at Auburndale Elementary, had a really unique way of allocating his kids to maximize his winning potential. And so it's a really cool thing he did there, where he had some kids working on DPOJs every week, and he had some kids devoted to his regionals project, and he had other kids devoted to different live competitions. And I think like the year he did that, he won. How many did you win, Ryan? How many state awards did you win that year?
I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, and then we came in 3rd place overall in the. But also, sorry, just one more plug for it is the DPOJs had to do with the main project. So when we had our main project, then we had a lot to show because we had all these DPOJs to show them.
Yeah, so it was a great way of allocating your kids and kind of getting them working on different things, but all related to STLP, and kind of maximize your chances of winning different awards. So that's next week. But yeah, so that's on the jcps.me/STLP website. Lunch and Learn is where you can find these. All right. If there's no other questions, guys, like I said last week, these will not go 30 minutes every time. They'll just be a few minutes, and it's just your opportunity to ask questions of me and just see a short presentation on STLP. So thank you guys for joining today, and I will see you later. Bye.